In this episode of the Locked On NBA Big Board podcast, me and my brother James, we are going to share our thoughts on DJ Wagner. This is our second episode of the day, so you get a bonus episode because we just covered his teammate at Kentucky and now Arkansas in Zvonimir Ivicic, but we couldn't wait until Monday to talk about DJ Wagner. So stay tuned to hear our thoughts about his fresh start and expectations versus reality. Big shout out to each and every person that has made the Locked On NBA Big Board podcast your first listen of the day. I'm your host, Rafael Barlowe, the director of scouting for NBA Big Board, and my co-host, like I mentioned in the opening, is my brother James Barlowe. And before we get into this episode, I want to let you know that it is brought to you by FanDuel. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of the NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Just visit FanDuel.com to get started. And if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please like, share, comment, but of course, subscribe. And also subscribe so you can get this podcast on your feed every day because it is basketball season. No more off-season talk. We are under 50 days until the start of college basketball season, under 30 days until the start of the NBA season, which means the Locked On NBA Big Board podcast is coming to you 5 days a week. And it could be like this week where you get like 6 episodes. All right, DJ Wagner. I want to give a little bit of a background on DJ Wagner. He's a player that a lot of people are probably familiar with. I mean, he was well known before he even stepped a foot on a college campus. Some of it has to do with, just what comes along with being the son of DeJuan Wagner, who was a star himself. And then there's a lot of talk about DJ being like the first third generation NBA player, was the number one ranked high school player for most of his high school career. I think he fell down to like number six. At the end. I guess it just depends on the ranking service, but I saw he was somewhere around sixth. Had a freshman year that didn't live up to the expectations. Average a respectable 9.9 points per game, 3.3 assists, 1.9 rebounds, but it just wasn't the numbers that were expected. He was expected to be a one-and-done prospect. And after his freshman year, he decided to follow Coach Kel'el, who's had a long-standing relationship with the family, from coaching DeJuan to, the World Wide West connection. That's a whole different story. But it was well known that when Calipari was leaving Kentucky, that a lot of people figured DJ Wagner would follow him to Arkansas. I know he went on a couple visits, or at least rumored a couple visits, or considered some other schools. But, everybody kind of figured that he was going to end up at Arkansas. So he's at Arkansas. He's looking for a fresh start. So, James, I want to hear your opinion on DJ Wagner, what you thought of him coming into last season, and if your perception of him or if your scouting report changed at all.
All right, so coming into last season, I liked him if he was able to play point guard, not being the volume scorer that he was in high school. I get in high school, the most talented dude on the team, or you play with Aaron Bradshaw. I was your most talented guy, top 5, top 6, whatever, nationally ranked guard. You do what you got to do. But there were concerns with him being a 6'2", 6'3",
they're listing him at 6'4" now.
We'll see about that. But
I saw him listed at 6'4". I think it's on the Arkansas website. Maybe he grew.
Everybody grew over summer.
Yeah,
in college. But if you would have told me that he was able to play some point guard to kind of counter to balance out the volume scoring, I would have like, you know what, maybe he could be a first round pick. And he actually, you know what, during that summer, I forgot the name of the title of the thing that they had. I think they were in Italy. It was. He played well as far as like scoring.
You're talking about the Global Jam?
Global Jam, yes.
But they played it was in Toronto, I believe.
Okay. Maybe
they played some like Italian teams or
Italian. I knew there was some Italian grits in there somewhere. But he played well. He scored. He made plays. But also Rob Dillingham didn't play well.
Yeah.
So
Rob was bad. Everybody
okay.
thought Rob was going to transfer.
Yeah, and I was on here like, yo, Rob, holler at NC State, man. This ain't the play for you. But he stuck around and he didn't listen to me, and that was probably the best decision he ever made in his life because he was a lottery pick. Shout out to Rob Dillingham. So DJ Wagner, to make the story less long, he came in as the most heralded recruit at Kentucky last year, and he ended up being the third best guard on the team. And if you want to count, I believe his name is Antonio Freeman.
Fourth.
Fourth. That's what I'm saying.
Reeves.
Excuse me. I don't know if I said Freeman. Antonio Reeves.
Talking about Antonio Freeman, the old receiver for the Packers.
Nah, man, I'm drawing. I draw.
Played with Amon Green and Brett Favre back when I used to watch football.
Antonio Reeves, man. I don't want to. I don't even want to tell you how I got to Antonio Freeman. Antonio Freeman looked like he was a made man. He looked like Benzino's little brother.
Back on subject, man.
Anyway, Antonio. So DJ Wagner, excuse me. He ended up being the fourth best guard on the team, and it didn't pan out, right? And he didn't shoot the ball well. Obviously, the volume wasn't what it was. So I say that to say, what is going to be different at Arkansas this year unless he makes a huge jump as a shooter? Arkansas brought in John L. Davis. John L. Davis is a fifth-year made man. I brought that together.
Been
from Florida Atlantic. Been to the Final Four.
A bucket getter.
Bucket getter, high usage guard. He was at 27% usage at Florida Atlantic. I understand Florida Atlantic is not Arkansas, but he can play. He is going to be somebody that maybe gets an opportunity to play in the NBA one day, right? So not only is he there, they bring in Boogie Flan. I like Boogie Flan. You like Boogie Flan, right? So I say that to say this. Unless he makes a huge jump, I don't know on this day in September if following Cal was the best move for your career long term if you're trying to get into the NBA.
Well, I put it like this. I don't think he made the wrong choice by going to Arkansas. I just wonder, why did some of the other freshmen end up going to Arkansas knowing that DJ was going to be a priority? Mm-hmm. However, you look at, what happened with Reed Sheppard and Rob Dillingham, and you may say, like we talked about in the last episode, if I'm nice, it's going to show.
It is, but here's my thing. So if I'm Boogie Flan, I probably wouldn't have followed just because. But also, if I'm Boogie Flan, I'm looking like, is DJ Wagner better than me? Is he?
You don't have to be. It just Rob and Reed showed last year. You don't have to be better.
You don't have to be better, but at the same time, it's hard with three guards.
Yeah.
Right. And DJ's best asset is him scoring, but he's a volume scorer. Is he going to get those opportunities to show you exactly what he can do on a team that has 50-year senior, another McDonald's All-American? We talked about, or we will talk about one day, Carter Knox. He can hoop. I like Carter Knox, right? Yes, they're not guards, but we just talked about Avicic. He's got to get some touches. Right, so it's
but you don't play for Calipari looking for a lot of touches. Like
I personally,
who was the last guy to get loose at Kentucky? De'Aaron Fox. Even Rob had to be reined in a little bit. So I don't think you go to Kentucky or play for Cal.
Okay. All right, so check this out. Right, it worked for Fox. Right, he was a top 5 pick. Reed was a top 5 pick. Dillingham was a top 10 pick. Right, but the same breath, you can say Tyrese and Quickly, they had to share. And with Ashton Higgins, they had to share. Now, again, you make the money eventually, right? Yeah. I get it. Shout out to those young fellas that got cashed out. But Tyrese is like he's a top 3 player from that draft. Quickly went 25th in that draft. And here's the thing about Quickly. And we'll say, well, DJ Wagner can share whatever, quickly share ball handling responsibilities, but quickly shot 43% from three at Kentucky his sophomore year. He shot 93 from the foul line on 5 attempts. Yep. Is DJ Wagner going to get the opportunities to showcase his ability?
Yeah, that's if he can make open jump shots, that's the key. But you know what? I want to talk about in the second
Ask me segment. That again. Yes.
I want to talk about in the second segment. DJ Wagner, as the jumper he struggled, but as a wide open catch and shoot floor spacer, he wasn't that bad. All right, when we return, we're going to talk about DJ Wagner's strengths, and we're going to talk about some of the concerns, and we're going to talk about his finishing at the rim, which is his greatest attribute, but he wasn't the most efficient. But before we get into the second segment, I want to talk to you about FanDuel. Why? Because FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook, and they have something a little different for you. Because now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of the NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. And then with a YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. And all you need is a Google account, a current form of payment, and you can cancel at any time. So just visit FanDuel.com and download America's #1 sportsbook. All right, second segment. I want to pull up some numbers that are pretty interesting regarding DJ Wagner. Coming into his freshman year and probably any scouting report that you could find on him, his greatest attribute was his ability to score. He's a creative scorer, an aggressive downhill driver. One of the first things I noticed is he's right-handed, but he plays like a lefty. He loves to get to the rim going left, and he's a good finisher going left. The biggest concern outside of maybe his actual position was, can he shoot? I didn't think that he was a good shooter, and I thought he was going to struggle with his shooting. But surprisingly, and these are, like I said, interesting stats. Surprisingly, he shot 37% on uncontested catch and shoot threes, which is, showing a glimmer of hope for his shooting there. And then even though I didn't think he was a point guard, and numbers don't always tell the story, but he had a solid 2.23 assist to turnover ratio. So I thought that, again, there's some numbers to support that there is potential for him to take the next step at Arkansas. What are your thoughts on that?
I would wholeheartedly buy that he isn't as bad of a shooter as it looked like on film. We just watched the misses; they look bad, right?
Yeah.
But is he going to get the opportunity and the usage to prove that? While I have him at 33% overall on catch and shoot. You'll take that. Yeah. Is he going to get the opportunity to show that the shooting isn't as bad as what you maybe thought it was? Is he going to get an opportunity to show you that he's improved on that? Because
I think even if he plays the same as he played last year, he's going to have enough time.
Is it going to be enough though, Ralph?
Yeah, because last year he played with 2 lottery picks. He's not going to play, I don't think, with 2 lottery picks this year. So I don't think that's going to be an issue.
You don't think he can play? You don't think it's 2 lottery picks? It doesn't necessarily have to be the lottery
at guard.
Pick.
He played with 2 lottery picks at guard and a guy in Antonio Reeves, not Antonio Freeman, that was their leading scorer, I believe. So I think that this year probably puts him in a better situation to get more shots.
He's gonna have to share backcourt minutes. Boogie Flan is good. I think Boogie Flan has lottery potential.
Yeah.
Right. Again, whether or not he's a lottery pick or not, John L. Davis is going to play 30 minutes a game at Arkansas. Right. You have to. He's a 5th-year guy. He can legit play. Trevon Brazile has NBA talent. He's been on NBA radars for 2 years. Right. And he is going to be 2 years removed, I believe, of ACL knee injury. So he should be back healthy.
Yeah, but I think his touches are all going to be dependent on guards that aren't high level playmakers getting him the ball.
Of course, but at the same time, he's somebody with NBA level talent. So they have at least 3 guys who are going to be on NBA radars, and they're going to get their touches. Now, I'm not saying they're all going to be pounding the rock. No, I just don't. I think that there was a clearer path to showcase what you could do elsewhere besides following Cal. Because again, sometimes it works with these guards with Cal. Sometimes your draft stock drops, and that's if you can absolutely play extremely well. So if he doesn't improve as a shooter, right, is he going to get the opportunities at Arkansas to show you that he can play? I think his best bet, personally, Ralph, should be, I need to prove that I can be a scoring point guard. Now, he went from trying to be a bucket getter to last year he was trying to play more point guard, and it made sense because you're playing alongside 2 other guards, right? But now I think it's this sophomore year would have been the opportunity for him to bring those 2 things together. I can score and I can make plays, right? I'm trying to be number 1 or number 2 in usage on my team so I can show the scouts what I can do. Because again, this isn't me being all negative about DJ Wagner. I liked him coming out of high school because I thought he did show flashes of being able to make some plays. He did show flashes of being a guy who's going to get to the basket. The at the rim numbers weren't great, but also 53%. Again, 53% for somebody that was his knock, and he only he shot 2 free throw attempts per game last year. So again, if I'm sitting here trying to say I'm a scoring point guard, which I think he ultimately should be, I'm going to go and put myself in a situation where I am undeniably the guy on this team. Now, again, the cream is going to rise to the top, but man, listen, if you would have told me he put himself in position to average 17-5 this year, I think he'd have an opportunity to be a first-round pick. 17-5 as a scoring point guard because he has good size. He is physical, right? He is relentless, but I don't know. He's going to get the opportunity.
But I know he's going to get that opportunity. Is going to look out for him more than his godfather. I mean, like,
what's that supposed to mean? Listen to me. If that was the case, if he was looking out for him, that's the case. He would have played 35 minutes a game last year.
He was trying last year. He just couldn't. The other 2 were better. In my opinion, any other situation outside of Kentucky, Rob and Reed would have been playing 35 minutes a game and DJ would have played 26. So it's kind of like,
I'm not okay. If you're looking out for me, Godfather, you're not bringing in a 5th-year point guard that's been to the Final Four.
But I don't know. I don't think DJ is a point guard. Plus, Cal now is he got to win. Like I think.
Okay, so if Cal got to win, I'm not looking out for nephew.
So you got to balance both. Right, let's get on DJ Wagner's shooting. He shot 31% on jump shots, 29% from beyond the arc. Now, again, I mentioned he shot 37% on uncontested catch and shoot threes. But the reason why those are uncontested catch and shoot threes is because nobody was closing out on him because the scouting report said,
"Thank you,
he with us. Let him shoot
he with us."
But my biggest concern is with 2 of them. No pull-up jumper, only shot 28% on jumpers off the dribble, and his bread and butter is getting to the rim.
Bread and butter is getting to
the rim. What's that?
Getting to the rim and the foul line, and he didn't get to the foul line enough, and he didn't finish at the rim well.
Shot 53% at the rim, which is, again, concerning for someone whose strength is attacking the basket. And according to Synergy, which Synergy numbers may not always be correct, but he was 5 of 25 on floaters. So if you're not like a high-level athlete that's like, playing above the rim, I think it is imperative for you to have a deadly floater. Now, again, the numbers could be a little off. I feel like when I watched this film, I saw him make some soft touch finishes around the rim. But according to the numbers, 5 of 25 on floaters. All right, when we return, we're going to dig a little deeper into the concerns. We're going to talk about his NBA position. We've already talked a little bit about the transfer to Arkansas. James has loudly expressed his opinion that he didn't think Arkansas was the best fit for DJ Wagner's draft stock. I countered with who is going to look out for him more than John Calipari. And then we're just going to talk about his draft stock. What does DJ Wagner need to do to regain the buzz that he had coming in to his freshman season? Stay tuned. All right, last segment. Man, this has been a fun episode, man. I wish we could stretch this out into about an hour. But we're back on DJ Wagner. We've talked about the expectations that he came into and the reality. And I think the reality was that he should not have been considered a one and done guy. And there's nothing wrong with being a multi-year player because the concerns were already there and they were on full display after his freshman year, during his freshman year. So it's clear that he's going to have to become a much better shooter. I do think that what position he plays is something that needs to be addressed this year. And as James has mentioned, he may not get the opportunity. But here's something that I want to talk about that we haven't discussed yet. He finished the season on such a bad note that is it can only get better. In his last 3 games, he was 4 for 20 from the floor. And in Kentucky's upset loss to Oakland, he only played 17 minutes, which
that's the wait, timeout. You said Unc was going to take care of him.
Unc had no time to. Well, I mean, there's only one Unc right now, Godfather, we should say. But at that point, season was on the line. You got to play Dillingham and Shepard. But DJ Wagner went scoreless, 0 points, 0. So looking back at the numbers, there were 2 guys that I thought were going to be lottery picks at this time last year that had donuts in their final game, which was DJ Wagner and Tyrese Proctor. So it can only go up for DJ Wagner. Now, what are your thoughts on what does he need to show as far as like percentage-wise shooting to make you comfortable with saying like, all right, I do think that the shooting issues have been addressed? Does he need to shoot 33, 35% from 3? Is it like stylistic thing? Like, does he need to like look better, look more comfortable in his role? Because I felt like last year he was kind of torn between, do I be aggressive? Do I try to play the point? Or also feel like it may have been the thing of like, these 2 other dudes are better than me.
Raf, the same questions you have now.
I don't think so. Do you think that they're going to have 2 lottery picks in the backcourt?
They might have 1. And now you'll say long term. Oh, no. Okay, they might have 1 again. Boogie Flan supporter, but outside of being older, outside of being younger, what has DJ Wagner showed you that he could be better than John L. Davis just as a basketball player?
Well, John L. Davis don't pass.
I get that.
And that's a strong statement. I shouldn't say
he's trying to get buckets. I get it.
John L. Davis he's a winner. He's went to the Final Four. He's fun to watch. He's got game, but I don't know if he's like the best table setter.
Listen to me, Rob. Last 13 games of the season, DJ Wagner scored double figures 3 times. Right? Yep. 3 times. That was it. What is going to change for him? You said at times there was guys on the court who were better than him. That could still very much be the case this year, right? I'm gonna answer your question about what the splits look like. But again, if I'm trying to get back to what I was, what they recruited me for, what I was a top 10 player out of high school, I was known for getting buckets. So if I'm known for getting buckets, but then I kind of added some better playmaking skills to it. But then y'all bring in John L. Davis, who you just confirmed is about his buckets. There still may be confusion. Boogie Flan, I think he's going to be a scoring point guard, but I think he's going to be all right either way because I think he can shoot. He'll be able to play off either of those guys. So is there role clarity for DJ Wagner this year? Unc Unc wasn't looking out for you like he said he was.
Godfather, man.
Godfather, Unc, OG, whatever
Unc.
you want to call it, man. He wasn't like, I get that. And that's important. But I got to look out for myself. You feel me? And I don't know if that was the right choice. Now, if it is the right choice, I hope it was the right choice. I want everybody to make it to the NBA and play for 15 years. Percentages, if he's at 43% from the field, I'm trying to be realistic. 34% from the 3-point line, and he ups those free throw. He doubles his free throw attempts. Really, I think he needs to be at 5. And stylistically, it has to look like, yo, we can't keep him out the paint, and he can make plays, and he's knocking down open shots at least at the same rate that he was last year. Right? I'm not at Arkansas. That's what it has to look like to me, but. That's why I was saying, I don't know how his relationship with Aaron Bradshaw, but Aaron Bradshaw, that's not his OG. He left because it just wasn't going to work for him. I'm saying if DJ Wagner would have put himself in a position where he could go get 17, 5, and 3 on those same splits, we're having a different conversation about him in the spring than what I think we'll be having a conversation about him right now. Because of where he's at. Because again, then you sit here and say, because like I said, my notes about him last year, he had good pace and pick and roll. Guess what his top play stat was on Synergy, according to Synergy last year? Spot up shooting. He 31% of the time he was spotting up. Right? Pick and roll, he was at 27% of all of his plays. And that's where he was at his best if you kind of factor in like the volume. So I'm going somewhere where I have ample pick and roll opportunities. Is he going to get that at Arkansas? I don't know. I had same concerns as far as him finishing in the paint and lacking a floater. So when are you going to get a chance to shoot a floater if I'm never going to close out on you because you're going to have to spot up some because you're playing alongside other guards? Or if you want to throw the ball in a big Vucevic and they throw it out to you, you still got to spot up. And again, you do need to spot up. That's very important, especially as a guard. But as I look at it and I look at his game, I don't know if this was the best choice. And again, if I'm wrong, I'll be the first one to tell you I'm wrong.
So in my opinion, I think the numbers are going to improve. I think that he's going to average more than 10 points a game. And I hope I'm wrong, but I think the numbers are going to improve. He's going to make gradual improvements, but I think it's going to be hard for him. And you're going to agree with this, that it's going to like basically double down on your opinion. And I don't think it would have mattered in a sense where he went to school, because I just think for him, there's no true NBA position. And I think even if he put up like big numbers, I think there's still going to be concerns as we'll give him 6'3" shooting guard that is not a dynamic athlete, that is not very good playing off the ball. How high do you take a guy that projects to be a 6-man? So I don't think that him going to another school and getting higher usage was going to quiet some of the concerns.
I think going to another school and getting higher usage and proving that you can be a scoring point guard would quiet those concerns. Because then we're looking at, he's dynamic in pick and roll, right?
But who does that look like? What's a comparison?
At 6'3",
that not like a phenomenal athlete.
Man, you really putting me on the spot.
Exactly.
You really putting me on the spot. Not a phenomenal athlete at 6'3".
More of a combo.
That is an okay shooter.
And you're like a rhythm, like you need the score. And your game is based off of scoring in the paint. I think that's the part where James ain't got no answer. Man, that's the part where I don't think that going to another school and getting a higher usage was going to like really catapult him, because I think it's a stylistic thing. How does that fit in today's NBA?
You have to catch me. We'll have another. Hold on, listen to me. I was gonna say Kentucky. We'll have another Arkansas episode eventually, or after X amount of games. We'll circle back, and I will have somebody for you. But right now, at the top of my head, you definitely stumped me. But at the same time, it doesn't look good, in my opinion, either way for him as a direct path to the NBA because, yes, he's stuck in between two positions and he's a volume scorer. But I'm going to find somebody for you, Ralph, because that's what I do.
All right. So in conclusion, I think for DJ Wagner to improve his draft stock, I don't know if it's possible for him to get to where he was projected at on some boards coming into the season. But I do think that he is going to have to show that he's a much better shooter. He's going to have to show that he can make pull-up jumpers, going to have to improve finishing in the paint, but also be a little bit more decisive in his role. Even though I thought that he did a good job as far as the assist to turnover ratio, I felt like there were still times where he was battling between, do I score or do I try to be a distributor? So,
see, and that's why I think leaving would have at least answered that question. Because then at that point, I understand that the ball is in my hands. I need to go be great. And you know what? Sometimes, man, that doesn't look like a power, whatever it is, 5, 6, 8. I don't know what conference these kids are anymore. Sometimes it just doesn't look like that. But you just need role clarity is very important in basketball.
It is.
It's very important. And I don't think I think role clarity is still lacking for him even in Arkansas.
Yeah, and I think wherever he would have went, it would have been the same thing. Well, that wraps up this episode on the Locked On NBA Big Board podcast. It ended up being a debate show. I want you, the listener, to share your thoughts on DJ Wagner. What does he need to do to improve his draft stock, or can he get it back to where it was at this point last year? And do you think he made the right decision to go to Arkansas? James says no. I say I don't think it would have made too much of a difference. Share your thoughts with us. Again, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like, share, comment. I definitely want to hear your thoughts on this subject. Once again, thank you for making the Locked On NBA Big Board podcast your first listen of the day. Now go check out the Locked On NBA podcast. They have the local experts that keep you updated every single day on all of the biggest storylines in the NBA. So find Locked On NBA on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. Once again, it's Rafael with my brother James, and we are out of here.